Okay, so good day everyone. So today we will be discussing dryers. So a dryer is, when you say dryer or drying process, that is the removal of relatively small amounts of water or other liquid from a solid material. Okay, so the purpose of the dryer is to remove moisture or small amounts of water, especially in our crops, no, or agricultural products. So, in a dryer system, okay, it has been said that your dryer here has a heater and also has a drying chamber. So, the heater serves as uh, a machine or a process wherein we are heating the air that will be used later on to dry our products. Okay. So next we have our drying chamber. So the purpose of the drying chamber is to remove moisture from our products. So let's define some of the terms. We have here hygroscopic materials. When you say hygroscopic materials, those are substances which are particularly variable in the moisture content, which they can possess at different times. It means these are materials that can absorb moisture. No? Bone dry weight. When you say bone dry weight, that is the constant weight of the hygroscopic substance after being dried out. It means without moisture, that is the weight, or the solid weight. That is another term for bone dry weight. When you say bone dry weight, that is the weight of the substance without moisture. Regain. So regain naman is the hygroscopic moisture content of a substance expressed as a percentage of the bone dry weight. So regain, that is just the ratio of the weight of the moisture divided by the solid weight of the object. Then we have the moisture content. When you say moisture content, that is the percentage of the moisture to the total weight. Siyempre, you have your solid weight. It means this is the weight nga malapa siya plus weight of moisture. This is the weight of water. That is what we call our gross weight. Okay, so those are your terms, no, that we have discussed for our dryers. So let's check here on our dryer. No? The moisture removed from the materials would be, syempre, that is the moisture added on the air. That's why this would be the mass of air. Okay, take note, the air is going in here, then heated air is going here, then humid air is going out. This is MA. This is MA. Okay, so that would be W3. It means that would be the moisture humidity ratio of 3 minus the humidity ratio of 2. And that is also equal to the change in mass of our feed or our product. Siyempre, kung pila ang nagbuhin na moisture sa product, amo to ang nagdugang sa air. So it means bone dry weight of the feed. Okay. We also take note of this kung ano ang solid nga nagsulod. Amo man ang magwa because the air only absorbs water. It doesn't absorb any solid particles from our agricultural products. Okay. Then the heat supplied on the heater, that would be mass of the air multiplied to H2 minus H1. Well, that is a change in enthalpy. efficiency of the dryer. So the efficiency of the dryer, that is the heat absorbed by the materials divided by the heat supply. Okay, so the heat absorbed of the materials, that would be the heat, okay, absorbed by the product, no? Divided by the heat supplied. Okay. And that's it. That is all that we can have in our dryer. So let's have one sample problem for this type of topic. Okay. So again, let's have this one. So a dryer is to be designed to reduce the moisture content of copra from 52% to 6%. Atmospheric air at 31 degrees Celsius dry bulb and 24 degrees Celsius wet bulb is heated by steam coils to 88 degrees Celsius before entering the dryer. Steam enters the reheater at a pressure of 133.9 kPa and 95% quality and exits saturated liquid. Okay, so it means saturated liquid siya pag exit. That would be HF later on our steam table. So the air leaves the dryer at 40 degrees Celsius with a relative humidity of 80%. Copra enters the dryer at a rate of 1.3 kilograms per second. So we must determine the mass flow rate of air and the mass flow rate of steam. Okay, so first let us display our diagram. So we have here our heater. This would be our heater or air heater. This is the air going in. This would be 1. This is the air going out. This would be 2. Then we have our dryer. This is the drying chamber. This is the air going out. 3. Okay. Next, this is the agricultural product going in. That would be 4. And agricultural product going out. That would be 5. And for the steam, this is 6 and this is 7. Okay, let's have all the givens now. It is said that the dryer is designed to reduce the moisture content of copra from 52% to 6%. It means, so the moisture content, pahin mo na lang siya 6%. Okay? Let's have first all the properties at every point. So point 1. So point 1, that is where the air is going in. So it is said that atmospheric air at 31 degrees dry bulb and 24 degrees wet bulb. Okay, so those are the properties for 1. So it means we can get all the properties after that. Next. Okay, so number 2 is heated to 88 degrees Celsius before entering the dryer. So it means at point 2, the temperature of the air is now 88 degrees Celsius. Okay? Steam enters the reheater. So that is the quality of steam naman niya. That is 6 and 7. No? But what are other factors in 2? So since it is only a heater, it means the moisture in 1 is the same at 2. So same lang ang moisture sa 2 kag 1 because the purpose of the heater is only to heat the air but do not remove moisture. Okay? Next, the air leaves the dryer at 40 degrees Celsius. So it means at point 3, okay, our dry bulb is 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, pero ang anong hambal niya? The relative humidity is 80%. RH is 80%. Okay, we will check later on our chart. So copra enters the dryer at a rate of 1.3. So it means that is the mass of our feed. No? So mass of our feed, that would be 1.3. So we are to get the mass flow rate of air. So where can we get the mass flow rate of air? So the mass flow rate of air, we can get that if we do our what do you call that? If we do our mass balance on the dryer. Mass balance on the dryer. Di ba? As what we have discussed. No? As what we have discussed. The mass of air multiplied to W. Okay? W3. Okay? W3 minus W2. That would be the mass of water. Amo man na ang gin-absorb. No? Nga mass sa 4.5. It means the change in mass in the feed means nagbuhin siya water, nagbuhin tubig, gindala na sang air. So that would be your humidity ratio. So it means we need the humidity ratio in 3 and 2. Okay? Now let's get that. We cannot get the humidity ratio at 2 without knowing 1. So it means we need to get the humidity ratio at 1. So 31 degrees Celsius, 24 degrees wet bulb. Let's check. Okay. So again, that would be 31 degrees dry bulb. So dari ang 31. So dari ang 31. Then you have 24 degrees wet bulb. So where's the wet bulb? Dere. This is the 24. So ibunggo to sila, no? And this is our point. Okay. So at this point, what is our humidity ratio? So our humidity ratio at this point, that is W1, is 0.016. So W1 is 0.016 kilogram of moisture per kilogram of air. So that is also our W2. Okay, because that is equal. Okay, next, we need to get W3. So to get W3, we have here 40 degrees Celsius and 80 degrees, 80% relative humidity. So bungguon ta naman, no? From our graph here, let's say, here. Kila gani? 40 degrees Celsius. Okay. So 40 degrees Celsius, we have here on the last part, then 80%. 80%. Where is the 80%? So this is our 80%. Okay, sir, nagsobra na siya. Nagsobra na ang aton nga graph. How can we do that, sir? Okay. So since hindi nakalambot ang aton nga graph dire, this is the 80% graph. This is the 40 degrees Celsius. So if our psychrometric chart cannot do what is needed to do, so it means we will use our formulas. Okay, so dry bulb. Dry bulb sa 3, 40 degrees Celsius. Okay? So how could we get ba the humidity ratio? Diba? Your humidity ratio sa 3, we have the formula 0.622 PV over PT minus PV. Okay? So how could we get PV? Okay? We get PV from relative humidity. That is PV over PSAT. Okay, since we already have our relative humidity, which is 80%, we just need to get PSAT. So what is the PSAT at 40 degrees Celsius? Let's check on our steam table. At 40 degrees Celsius, your PSAT is 7.3851. Okay. 7.3851. So PSAT is equal to 7.3851. So 80% equals PV over 7.3851. So our PV would be 7.3851 times 80%. That would be 5.9081. This is in kPa. Then to get humidity ratio at 3, that is 0.622 multiplied by 5.9081 over 101.325 because that is the standard pressure. So your W3 would be that would be 0.0385 kilograms of water per kilogram of air. So we already have W3. So okay na kita sa W3. Okay na kita sa W2. This is the required. The question is, how could we get our W4, M4, and M5? So the M4 is given because the copra enters the dryer at 1.3 kilograms per second. It means 1.3 kilograms per second na siya. But we don't know what is the output. What is the output of our feed? So, naghambal siya, the moisture content, reduce 52%, mahimo na lang 6%. So again, from 52%, mahimo na lang 6%. So it means, sa point 4, okay, at point 4, there is 52% moisture. Okay? 52% moisture. So, di ba ang aton ang our what do you call that? Our principle is that the solid weight is constant. So kung 52% ang moisture, how much percentage is the solid? So 48% solid, di ba? Multiply naton sa mass sa atong na feed which is 1.3. We can get the mass of solid per second. Hey, because ang principle is solid is the same. Di ba? Okay, so 0.624, that is the mass of solid in the products. Okay, next. We need, ano daw, it will become 6% moisture content na lang. So it means, since the solid is constant, it means the solid is the mass of the solid of the final product. Take note ha, this is at 5, this is at 4. Plus naton sa moisture content which is 6% of the mass at 5 equals mass at 5. Then we can get the mass at 5. Diba? Because solid plus moisture equals the total mass at 5. Diba? Okay, so you ponder on that. 0.624 plus 6% multiplied to x equals x. Shift solve. Our mass at 5 is 0.6638 kilograms per second. So now we can get the mass of air. So for A, the mass of air multiplied to W3, pila natin nga W3, that is 0.0385 minus W2, which is 0.016 equals mass of 4, which is 0.624 minus, that would be 1.3 pala. No? 1.3. 0.624 yung solid. 1.3 minus 0.6638. So what would be the mass of air? So the mass of air, multiply natin sa 0.0385 minus 0.016 equals 1.3 minus 0.6638. So the answer is 28.28 kilograms per second. That is the mass of air. Okay, next, how about for B? The required for B is the mass flow rate of steam. So we'll just use energy balance here. The mass flow rate of steam. Ba? So it's just like the mass of steam. So H7 minus H6. That would be equal to the mass of air na nakuha natin. H2 minus H1. Okay, mass of steam. What would be H7? So H7, it said that 133.9 kPa, 95% quality. Ay, pabudlayan pa ta sa steam table. So 133.9 kPa. No? Wala pa di ho. 133.9. No? Where is 133.9? Since naka-quality pa siya, percentage. So to get H7, that would be HF plus X HFG. So we need to get HF sa 133.9 kPa. No? Ay, ay, ay. So where is 133.9? Wala. So we have 125, 125, and 150. So let's check for the HF. Let's check for the HFG. So let's just get the values for 133.9. Okay, so X. Okay, so let's have here mode 3.2. So mode 3.2, 125. We have here 150. Then 444.36. Then we have 467.13. CA, then we could get 133.9 Y hat. So it means your HF is 452.466. 452.4661. 452.4661 plus quality is 95%. HFG, let's get that from the table. So again, that is mode 3.2. Okay, let's continue. So 125 again and 150. Then we have 2 to 40.6 and 2 to 26.0. Then let's get the value for 133.9. That would be 2235.4024. So 2235.4024. Then we can get the enthalpy at 7. So the enthalpy at 7 would be, okay, 2576.098. Okay. Next, how about the enthalpy at, I think may wrong kita. This is enthalpy at 6 because the enthalpy at 7 is saturated liquid. Di ba? It exits saturated liquid. So the saturated liquid, actually, that is the HF. No? So it is 452.4661. Okay. So we already have enthalpy at 6 and enthalpy at 7. What we don't have is enthalpy at 2 and enthalpy at 1. Enthalpy at 2 and enthalpy at 1. So I think we could get your enthalpy at 1 using our psychrometric chart. So what would be the enthalpy here? No? So I will use a ruler here on my end on my laptop. So I think that would be 71.5. That is our enthalpy at 1. Okay. So using my ruler here at my laptop. So 71.5. Okay. So H1 is 71.5. How about H2? Uh, Because at point 2, pwede ta ba siya ma-check sa psychrometric chart? Because this is 88 degrees Celsius. Uh, I think we could not check this one in our psychrometric chart anymore because that is very high temperature. Because we are heating here. Heating. Okay. So the 88 degrees Celsius nga given sa 2, 88 degrees Celsius. And W2 is equal to W1, di ba? That would be 0.016. So what we will need to do is we just use our formula for enthalpy. That would be CPT plus WHG. Okay? So let's check your CP of air, that is 1.0062 multiplied to temperature plus W. Your Hg at 88 degrees Celsius is, we will check it on the steam table again. So at 88 degrees Celsius, where is 88? Dari ang Hg, wala pa 88, no? Okay, so we use interpolation again, mode 3-2. So 85, you have 90. Then at 85, that is 2651.4 and 26596. Okay, and 88. Okay, so that is 2656.32. So your H2, that would be 1.0062 multiplied to 88 plus 0.016 times 2656.3. So that would be 131.0467. Okay, so let's put it here. 452.4661 minus 2576. So I think dapat i-positive na lang natin. That would be H6 minus H7. No? So that is 2576.098 minus 452.4661 equals mass of air. We have solved that. Your H2 is 131.0467 minus 71.5. So the mass of steam, that would be, that's why nga may steam dire, because we are using steam to heat the air. Okay, so that would be, the mass of steam would be 0.793. That is 0.793 kilograms per second. So that is our answers.